This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, myself Anand. I'm a psychiatric certified consultant. In this video, I'm going to give you some brief light and brief idea about accounting basics. It may clarify some of your doubts and it will help you in understanding SAP also. So what's my agenda here? Accounting basics. It's an attempt to teach accounting in a logical way, how it works in reality. The topics which I'm going to cover here is the types of accounts which we already know, like nominal accounts, real accounts, and personal accounts. The basic accounting types that we know. So why these accounts we use it? Why can't we use only one type? Like this, I'm going to explain this first time. And also, how current assets and current liabilities will come to picture in balance sheet, and difference between bank and cash. This is especially for students, and how tax works in accounting. What are, tax interest can be included in transactions. And also advances and deposits. Advances is nothing but when we pay, like when we receive some advances from customers, when we pay advances to vendors, what are the entries we count. And finally, accrual and provision concepts. First, let me check out, now let me work on these three types of accounts. For an accountant, now generally they will be very clear that the first things what they learn in their accounting career, like when they start in college and all, nominal account, real account, and personal account. These three accounts which we learn. But for some of the students or someone who is professional also, till the end of like college also, after college when they're working also, they may get confused with what is nominal, real, and personal accounts. Because why do we need it? All these things they will get confused. Just imagine if I start a new business now, I plan to set up a business. I'll take some small amounts to make you very clear. So I have some 3,000, around 3,000 rupees. I borrow from something, maybe loan or something else, and I invest on some furnitures, vehicles or something to set up my business. And I start a new business like trading business. I buy some products and I'll keep it in me and I'll sell it for profit. I personally go to market and I'll bring it, and wherever my business is set up, I'll keep it there and I'll sell it. If this is the scenario, when I'm investing any amount, and also when I'm buying some products and resell it for more money, like for a profit, those two things which I want to make it separate. That because see, I borrow some money on a promise of I'm just promising that I'm going to pay it after some time with interest or dividend, whatever the more. And I invested on some vehicles or something else. What will happen? That I'm going to use it to do my business. That is not actually my business. That's not my operations. Operations in the sense, whatever I do, manufacture or produce or I buy and sell it, that's for operations. To make that operations to happen here, we have to set up a business. That and all investments and borrowings or own money, we invest on it. For that, just check here. I made an example. See, on 1st of January, I make some business setup. Like I borrow some loans and also some shares or whatever the mode I borrow this one, 3,100 rupees. And I set up a building for 1,000 rupees, furniture 600, vehicle 500. And in my hand, I'll keep 1,000 rupees as cash for my daily expenses and also for run business totally. These accounts, whatever it is I maintained here, if I club with pain or else if I club with regular expenses or something, then what will happen? So you don't get a proper accounting. For example, because these accounts are not will not find in profit. It should not mix up with profit and loss. I will explain now. So I started this one. On 1st of January, I set up this one, and from 1st of January, I started doing the business that I buy and sell the products. At the end of 31st of March, I'll come up with these expenses. For example, I go to market purchases, transport expenses, rent, again purchasing, and again transport. Like this accounts I keep on entering here. And also I do the sales for this much. In the transactions, I made 750 means I made total of 750 rupees sales means it's the money coming in is 750 rupees and money has gone out with 530. So I got a profit of 220 rupees. So these things which you people already know, but what I'm trying to tell now. So when we are making any accounting entries, these accounts, whatever the accounts which we maintain, where borrowings will come and where it's invested, these accounts which you maintain under real accounts, and to find out profit or loss of the company for a particular period for 1 year, example 1 year, those accounts which finds the profit or loss for a particular period, those accounts which we maintain under category called nominal account. And these accounts which is nothing but a balance sheet accounts which we maintain under real accounts. Very simple. So why do we require these two means? If you club, if you do not separate these accounts, if you maintain together, for example, a simple accounting, here only you started entering all these here only means expenses is going out and revenues are coming in. Like that, if you make a mix up, how do you find how much you bought for the particular year and how much you got a profit? And also first year, all will seems like expenses and all will seems like sales. The main important thing in accounting is they made a separate two category of accounts in general ledger accounting. That is, when you are borrowing some money that promising in future, that is they are going to pay it in future. Example, shares, debentures, loans. Those things we consider it as a liability accounts. And when you are investing the same thing on something which helps you out in making business to be run properly or smoothly, those investment, those expenses means outgoing money, they consider it as an investment, not an expenses. But when you go to market and buy a product and resell it for to resell it with a plan of reselling for a higher price, those things are an expenses and revenues. Those accounts which we call it as a profit and loss account. These things will fall, these accounts, whatever you maintain in balance sheet, will fall under real accounts, and profit and loss account will fall under nominal accounts. These two together we call it as general ledger account. There's nothing but general ledger. Now the question will come, when I can find out my profit and loss, profit for the for profit for a period, and I know how much I borrowed and how much I invested. So when I know all these things, how the relationship between profit and loss account balance sheet will go. So it's very simple. Just imagine I prepared this balance sheet on 31st of March. Sorry, I have prepared this on January 1st, and I did it for whole year. This P&L account is on 31st March. Just imagine 31st March. When this P&L account is there, so what will happen in balance sheet? I'm just linking I'm giving the relationship between the P&L account and balance sheet. Very simple. So whenever you have cash, so whenever you are doing this one like for 1 year, Just imagine all things will go in cash transactions. There is no credit basis accounting. Okay, so just let me do this. See, this just imagine this is my cash account. What I do, I'll enter whatever the money comes in and I'll enter whatever the money goes out here. That's it, very simple. So what I do, all these things, whatever is here, money comes in. So I had a balance in the beginning, it's 1,000 rupees. That 1,000 rupees is here, and I entered these. These are the expenses I entered here, right? It's totaling 530 rupees, and these are the revenues. It's totaling 750 rupees. The 750 rupees is here. Now you see here, the cash in hand is left with 1,220. That is the 1,000 rupees which I had in my account before, and 220 rupees which I got profit. Means my cash will increase to 1,220. When my cash increases here, definitely my liabilities also should increase because it has to match. Balance sheet concept is it has to match. What will you see here? You may think that okay, profit. It's correct. If I enter 220 here, that balance sheet will match. You may think that why this profit will come under liabilities. Liabilities is a that the company is means it has to pay to outsiders. Please do not think in that way. If you want to understand balance sheet very clear, it's better way that if you think balance sheet liabilities as a sources of fund, that means where the money came to the business, from where the money came to the business, and where it's invested. Assets means where it's invested. If you think in this way, it will give you a clear idea. Means by on 1st of January, I had this balance sheet. Here one, sorry, here one. 1st of January, I had this balance sheet, and for 1 year, I did. Sorry, it's 1st of January. It's 1st of March. Sorry, April. Just imagine the date. 1 year. On 1st of April, I had this balance sheet. Means I bought 3,000 rupees, 3,100 rupees, and I invested on building furniture and vehicles. I did a business like a operations, means purchasing and selling for a higher price for 1 year. From that activity, I got 220 rupees profit. From this, my cash is increased by 220 rupees. How this cash is increased? The, the operations which that made me 220 rupees cash to come inside in. And this 220 rupees made liabilities to increase means that sources from the operations means the money has generated and profit has generated to the business from operations. That's why if you think liability as a sources of fund and assets as an invested, where it's in the form of these things, then it will be very easy to understand balance sheet. So very simple. So sources of fund and invested are liabilities or assets, and expenses and revenue. It's called some profit and loss account. And if you when you're making in account of that money comes in and money goes out. So to an account it came this much money and this much money has gone out. Then whenever you get a profit, it's going to be your liability is going to increase. Whenever you get a loss, your assets is going to increase. Most people do not know and do get confused with assets is the work of the company. Why we have to write discretionary expenses, profit and loss account under assets? See, that's what. Whenever you think assets as an investment, means where in which form the money is there. For example, take this. I got this 220 rupees profit, so it's showing in liability side. Let me take out. So my expenses will go by 300 extra. Then I got a loss of 80 rupees. See here, Automatically it's changed here because I put some bits simple formulas. Means what? 80 rupees is a loss because I got from whole year I spent 830 rupees and I got 750 rupees, so 8 rupees is loss. In money also, I had 1000 rupees and so total 750 I got 1750 total, but I spent 1830 instead of 750 I spent 830. So my reduce whatever I had 1000 rupees in my account, it's reduced to 920 means 80 rupees has gone out from the business. Then obviously my cash will reduce to 980, sorry 920, not a profit. Then my P&L account will come to picture in asset side means this means by doing a business for 1 year, I spend means I lose 80 rupees which I had in my account means I had 1000 rupees, I lose 80 rupees in that operation. So that I carry forward it by planning that for a future recovery. Means I have invested to do an operation of 80 rupees. It's not an investment, it's I can say it's an amount in the form of loss. This is what the basic things which you people should understand before going relationship between P&L account and balance sheet. And also nominal accounts is nothing but a P&L account, real accounts is nothing but a balance sheet account. When you are making any entries or something, when you are any creating, you have to decide first what type of amount or what type of transaction it is. For example, you come here, see how the money comes to the business. Money comes in two ways, that is, see when money flows, money comes in two ways, that is borrowing first. You have to borrow money that promising that I'm going to pay it in later, loans, debentures, sales, or you have to do a sales activity. You may sell something like your products. That is, you are passing some benefits to the customers and you are getting money for it. You may produce it or you may trade it. Means you may bring it and sell it for higher price. But when we get a money to the business inside, you have to decide what type of it is, what type of money it is. If you borrow, it has to go to liability account. If you do any operations like if you sell something, to get that money, it has to go to P&L account. That's nothing of operations. In the same manner, money going out. How money will go? Whenever you're spending something, if you do an investment, if you buy a car, if you buy a building, that will that's a necessary for the business to operate. That doesn't mean that you are not going to sell it for anyone for the profit. So that investment activity has to go on the assets in balance sheet. And at the same time, if you purchase something to resell or reproduce something and to get more profit from it, then it has to go to purchases like operations. Means it's all expenses in P&L account. Final conclusion for this, whenever you get an entry, first decide what type of entry it is, whether it's an incoming or outgoing, then decide if you decide it's an outgoing, then decide it's an investment activity or it's an operations activity. If you decide it's an operation activity, then it must some of the P&L account should be debited. If you decide it's an investment activity, then one of the asset accounts should be debited. Then vice versa means for the money coming in also. But when you are making any journal entry, you may get confused like what to debit or what to credit. This will help you. Just decide whether it's an incoming or outgoing. If it's an incoming, very simple. So decide what say there is a borrowing or sales. So incoming is some GL must be credited. Then decide whether it's a borrowing or sales. If it sales, it's in P&L account. Then it has to be transferred to P&L account. The journal entry has to be transferred to P&L account. I believe it's clear. Now further, I will explain about what's the purpose of this personal account. Two accounts we know and real accounts and nominal accounts. It's a general ledger which identifies your status of the company and one will identify one category will identify the profit or loss for the particular period. When we have these two, what's the purpose of personal accounts? Many people have an assumption like personal accounts is like drawings account, owner's account, that is and that. So don't get confused with anything. A personal account is nothing but an external accounts. What's this external account? See, let me take one example here. Take this example first. Very simple. If you are a businessman, what you do here, you buy a product and you sell it for a higher price. That's your business. Then you record it in P&L account. Very simple. What will be the entry then? The entries will come like this. These are the entries will come. Whenever you are doing this business, let me take this instead. When you alone doing this one, like alone means you may give the money then and there. When you purchase money, you give the money then and there itself, and you buy a product. And whenever you sell something, you sell a product. Very simple. And you can take the cash. What's the journal entry will come here? Purchase account debit to cash account. So that means, so here you may get confused again that purchase and cash. So that for that I said now. So whenever you get a cash, you sell something, your cash is going to hit here. Then it automatically updates balance sheet here. Very simple. Your cash is going to reduce and the profit is going to reduce. But what is the requirement? That is not much important here. You have to understand what's the requirement of that personal account. Purchase account debit to cash account and cash account debit to cash sales account is there whenever you do a cash transaction. Just imagine as your business grows, you hire someone, some person to buy a product and you hire someone to sell a product. If this scenario comes to a picture, what will happen? That person instead of you, that person will go and bring the product and this person will go and will give the will sell the product to the customers. This goes in a better way. Each time you give the cash to him and you need to go and buy a product and he'll bring it to the company and this person will sell this. If these things are going good and you are very happy, but after some days you get a complaint from customers saying that sir, whatever the products which you are giving is not the same quality. So you get doubt and you will ask him from where you are buying. You get a purchaser where you are buying the products, and he will tell that sorry, wherever you said, there and I am buying. But he'll get doubt. But you will go to that vendor and he'll inquire with him, saying, so is that my employee will come to you and purchase the product? And he said, no, sir, he is not coming from last day. What happened here? That person has made an agreement, not agreement, is not buying with the same person where you are buying because of some other vendor made an offer saying that for lesser price. So you don't worry about it. You get the same product and sell it and you give it to your owner and you take that money. Means you keep that money with you. For example, you are giving him 100 rupees and that vendor where you are buying, that vendor is giving the quality product for 100 rupees. But now this person is buying from other vendor, that product maybe 90 rupees only. But when you are telling you, he is telling I am buying it for 100 rupees from the where the vendor you are telling. Probably maybe the same product name. But when a customer tells you that thus this is what happening here, so the quality is not good. Then we asked him, he said that no. You come to know that this person is not making and he also bringing from other vendor. For that, what you do, you want to control him, but it's not the question of that you are terminating him and you are bringing someone else. He may do the same thing. To control him through an accounting means also having a proper accounting with whom he is bringing the product is simply what you say. You will tell him, you go and bring the product and mention the name from whom you bought the product. Then I will go and pay the money to him. So then what will be the entry? Very simple. What will be the entry? Instead of entering here, see here, purchase to cash, purchase account to debit to cash, he will mention now purchase account from where he got some product. Then by seeing this vendor name, you are going to pay the money. So what happens here? This vendor debit and credit is not between. It does not have anything. Because ultimately the purchase account and cash account came to picture. These two entries or else this vendor account does not made any changes in profit or loss. Only that entry came to picture because of with whom this entry, this dealing or this transaction has done. So that you come to know easily the person's name. From the time you cannot make a fraudulent activity in company. Take same vice versa with the customer. You are bringing a quality product and you are selling to some quality customers. But this person for the higher price that product may have the huge demand, he may sell it for an higher price to an other customers. Same thing, same scenario. Where I said this buying product, he may sell it for his personal benefits, and then you will tell to control him. Do not take the cash. You do one thing. You do the sales and mention to which customer you sold the product. From that customer, I will collect the money. Now, be here also. If you see this customers and vendors, sorry, this sales and cash, and this customer debit and credit. So this is debit and credit came to picture. Means it's not. It may be 1,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees, that's one out. What is ultimately I'm trying to tell you here? Whenever you are bringing any account which is not our general ledger account, means the vendor account, customer account, those things will not make any changes in P&L account, right? Because the value will not change, only the account interest will increase. When you maintain an external account, means external means organizations, vendors, customers, persons, or stakeholders who are related to the company, like employees, whatever the accounts, those accounts will fall under these personal accounts. And those personal accounts will never change your profit or loss. Will just help you out in having a proper accounting. That's why we call it as a supportive accounts also. Very simple. This has another word also, subledger. This personal account has a concept word of subledger also. Subledger concept. Subledgers are ledgers which help you to or support your account for the main ledgers. But these subledgers are not going to change any statistical value in P&L, profit or loss. Only will show you with whom the daily or else the transaction has done. It's just started with the concept of having a control on your activities, business activities. That's the ultimate idea behind subledgers. Now I believe you people got an idea of why these three accounts are required in business in accounting. Just simply I'll revise it. Nominal accounts are the accounts which we maintain for purchases to maintain to find out profit or loss of the particular profit or loss of a business for a particular period. Real accounts are the balance sheet accounts which we maintain from where the money came to the business and on in what form the money is there. Means it's nothing but liabilities and assets. Let me change this liabilities and assets. And personal accounts are those accounts which we maintain. External accounts, which are the sub-ledger concept. Those sub-ledgers will support this main ledger. If you do not have this sub-ledger also, you can maintain your accounts very clearly. But whenever the credit basis, whenever the person with whom you are doing it, these transactions and all to know all these things, we require this person accounts. I believe you got these ideas. Now the question comes arise. I explained about balance sheet and P&L account. Many people will not understand and also they get confused with what is general ledger thing? What's journal entry thing? General ledger and journal entries are those two things will help you how to clear or else like having a clear tracking of or else having a clear idea of what's happening in business. Let me explain these things in a different way. So go here. See, I have taken a simple example. You can you see the same P&L account where I saw showed here. The same P&L account. You purchase 220 rupees profit was there, right? Before the same P&L account is here. So just imagine this person when he is doing business, he was happy with everything, is going on, he hired something, is going on. Just imagine this scenario. But when for some period it goes well, he was getting good profit. But after some time, he started losing money. Just losing money means he continuously started losses in business. Then what he thinks, he wanted to increase all these accounts, like we just keep digging each and everything. How many times is the purchase has gone, how many in transport is done, rent how much you paid, salary how much you paid. Each and every transaction is started entering. And also how much sales has done, whether any mistakes, errors, manual errors of entering the document is done. Each time, each lines you wanted to inquire in for whole year. Just imagine there are around 20,000 entries here and 10,000 entries in revenues. If you want to categorize this one, how many times purchase is done, whether all the purchases properly entered here, how many times rents paid, how many times transport paid, or how many sales is done, whether all the sales is done clearly entered in P&L account. Any accounting mistake I done that I am not getting a profit here. That will get confused with this. So for that, how much time it will take to categorize everything? For that, what we made a very simple idea. Instead of entering all these things from next year, what you made a clear idea. So instead of entering all these things, we started entering in this form. See here. What is that? See here, purchases may enter three times. Instead of entering three times here, we started entering three times on the date. I made it very simple here. Means 100, 100 and 200. Truck transport. Transport is 50 and 30. Transport 50 and 30. Whenever the sales is happened, 200, 120, 100, 200, 120, 100. So instead of entering this debit side, he started entering small accounts. And instead of entering credit side, started entering in credit side. So what happened here? At the end of the year, just total of this started transferring. See here, the arrow mark has gone. Transferring this purchase account and transferring this sales to here. So that it reduced entries in P&L account directly. So this, let me take P&L account. So the net profit and loss account, debit and credit. Okay. So all accounts has the same debit and credit. Now, what happened here? If he gets lost in the next year, once if you want to inquire some entries, he does not want to categorize here. He doesn't want to look into P&L account. He simply can check out here directly whether purchase has gone higher or transport has gone higher or sales has reduced. Because of that, I'm getting lost. So that the enquiries are also making research or else finding out a proper reason for a loss or not properly, efficiently, business is not going good. These things started helping out in maintaining small accounts instead of entering directly to P&L account. So, in this way, the journal entries will help you out to understand how P&L account is formed through journal entry, general ledger accounts. Very simple. Just let me clarify one second. Instead of entering to find out a profit, we just started entering a outgoing and incoming here. And instead of entering here, whatever the outgoing, we started entering this account, and whatever the incoming, we started categorized here. At the end of the year, that whole amount will transfer to P&L account, so that we get the same profit there also. By segregating these accounts, we didn't get any loss or we didn't get any more profit. The same thing, just an additional work to maintain a proper accounting. In this form, this general ledger will help out in accounting. Now, one more questions will come. What's the purpose of journal entry? Go here, same account, same thing. So some bit amount is in change here. Do not bother about amount. But same thing, whenever just the loss has gone, just take that example, whatever I was telling, that he got a loss and he wanted to find out where I got lost and all. When he started this in this form, but when he is entering all these things, and he wanted to know a particular like 300 or 500, this entry, he may feel that one this entry is wrongly entered, this entry is not entered, entered wrongly, or else he may want to know that whether it's there or not. So how it works again, he has to find out like where who entered this one, when it's got and everything. Because of that purpose, so instead of entering directly to this small accounts, we started what is as and when the entries happened. For example, whenever you do a purchase entry, simply do a purchase debit. Obviously, the cash will affect that cash is credit. Means cash is going to reduce and purchase is going to increase. Means instead of entering here this particular 300, so I started entering first here, then transfer to purchase account, and then transfer to P&L account. Ultimately, P&L account totals is going to update in balance sheet. With these entries, what happens? You may think that one you know also whenever you are doing any journal entry, there is one narration is there. Being means what? That's the meaning of that. When it's happened and what is happened, the meaning of text. That's it. That's the entry details. And also, if you notice very clearly, when you are maintaining your journal ledgers, sorry, journal entries, there is a one column you do it. So that's LF. LF means ledger portfolio. To which ledger this entries has been updated. This ledger is nothing but general ledger. From here, they are going to update here, and from here, they are going to update P&L account, and from the balance sheet. Means what? So these journal entries will make you very clear on what date and what time or for which accounts has been debit and credit has done. From that, these totals will update in general ledger. Very simple. So that whenever he wants to inquire about any entry or he may get lost or something else, he can go to journal entry and go to some he can easily get it. And when you are passing any journal entries, do not get confused. Journal entries are very not much difficult. As I said in this formula, not formula, in this explanation at the beginning. So go here. Just decide whether money is coming in or not. If something is coming in, money is coming in. For example, purchases. It's a money outgo. Okay, then you should debit some of the one of the GL. Which GL? Decide it's investment or purchase, P&L account or profit. Then very easily you can debit, you can do it. Then decide whether it's an cash basis or it's a credit basis. What is credit basis? I already said this will help you. If you are taking in credit, instead of cash, you are going to mention debit vendor here, so that you bought from him, you have to pay him. That's the idea. So there is an accounting, there is an types of account journal entries are there. Like this is just an informal way of understanding. This is not a formal. Please do not explain it anyway, but try to understand this way. Whenever you buy something like from a vendor, the paying later stage, or when you sell something, you're going to get in later stage. So that it's going to hit like this: purchase upon debit to vendor. Then you pay that vendor later. And if you go and bring it for cash, it's going to be purchased to cash directly. Then and there is. Ultimately, this purchase and cash will only come to picture. Vendor is going to knock off debit and credit. These accounts, these entries you can decide like recording, clearing, and recording from clearing. Recording means first you record it from whom, with whom you have do the transaction. Then you get a payment from sales. You may make a payment for a purchases. But whenever you go and directly bring the cash, you don't want to mention with whom you bought this product or with whom to whom you sold this product. Then you can enter entries like this: purchase to cash directly. On the time, just this is the formula: incoming and outgoing. Just decide whether the money is coming in. Just decide if it's incoming or outgoing. If it's an outgoing, decide you're doing a purchase activity or investment. If it's an purchase activity, then some of the expenses take here. It's an expenses, debit over. Then you have to decide whether I should debit vendor or whether I should take credit credit vendor or credit cash. Then decide whether that entry requires the person's name or whether that entry is required does not require person's name. If there is no person's means that organizations, that vendor with whom you are dealing, then you can enter cash directly. Once it's a recording from clearing means there is no further entry. But if you do a recording, you must clear it. Means you have to clear with cash. It may help you out in deciding journal entry. It will work out with same with incoming concept also. Decide sales. If it's a sales or borrowings. If you decide a sales, then enter first sale account credit means money is coming in. Then you have to decide whether it's in cash entry or whether it's in credit entry. If it's a cash entry, then directly enter cash debit. Or it's in credit entry, directly enter customer debit. If you mention this sales and customer instead of cash, then you should enter a clearing entry also. That is, customer has to give the money, then cash will come. Ultimately, your sales and cash came to picture. So overall summary of these things, whatever I said, is very simple. Accounting is not going to be difficult. It's just a business process tracking the account. You can maintain your accounts without having any books or something else. Just maintaining what goes in, what comes in a book also, in an Excel also. You can easily identify the profit or loss of your company. Whatever the money goes out and whatever the money comes in, you can just enter in two columns and the remaining will be your profit or loss. But whenever we have control on activities, like we need control of like the vendor example which I said subledger, the employees may not ethically work, or else sometimes you may get a credit, sometimes you may have to know with whom you are dealing, and also sometimes you may get like other requirements may be required for your business to expand your entries, like a clear details of that. For that purpose, all these additional work started. Just a simple. Whenever you do any transactions, you can do in this way. Flow. See, first I said balance sheet. Do you remember? First I said, so business started, it maintained a balance sheet. Then for an year, he maintained a P&L account. Then whenever he gets a profit, it was going to liability, and whenever he gets a loss, it was going to assets. These two things were okay. But to be clear, whenever he wanted to know about the interest, whatever is entered in P&L account, he started maintaining small accounts of ledger accounts, general ledger accounts. From that, the totals has been transferred to P&L account. But whenever he wanted to make a very clear, each entry to be very clear, then he started a concept of journal entries. So journal entries, first he will just mention which account to be debited and credited, then he will transfer to the general ledger account, and then it was P&L account, then it comes to balance sheet. This is in reversal, which I'm telling, which I said till now. But actual entries in accounting, we prepare a journal entry, we then transfer to general ledger. From general ledger, we transfer to P&L account and we transfer to balance sheet. When we are preparing general ledger, do not get confused with like asset accounting or liability account and sales account, revenue account. So you just very clear, it will be very clear that's it. So the general ledger, whatever you are doing, whether it's an investment or purchases or borrowing for this one. Then do the journal entry and prepare the general ledger account. So those, it's an investment operations account has to be transferred to P&L account. Those who are in investment and borrowings has to be transferred direct to the balance sheet. Ultimately, P&L account balances also is going to update in balance sheet. Once the year is completed, then it's going to be new year, new operations. The balance sheet status will be there. I believe these things help you out in understanding accounting basics.
This conference will now be recorded.
The terminologies which I said till now is used by SAP itself. Like these two accounts, SAP consider it as an general ledger account. It's nothing more. They directly call this as a P&L account, and they directly call it as a balance sheet. And this one as a subledger. This will I will explain in future class. But as of now, so let me explain about this current assets and liabilities. This current assets and liabilities, many people will get confused, like not confused, they tell that it's clears within a year. When I ask them, so how it clears 1 year? Can you tell me how it works and all? So they get something like, it's going to clear 1 year, so it's not for a long time. But just for a clear understanding, simple, take this example. I have this. This is a cash transaction. There is no concept of credit and all. So whenever we have these cash transactions, many times we don't get any current liabilities, like current liabilities like creditors, debtors, or something. We have short-term loans and all. Those things are different. But assets and current assets and current liabilities are those things. Most of the time, those things which are an uncleared amount of subledger accounts. I will prove it now. So how it works? Very simple. See here. So what will happen? So this is the entries which I said. I'll copy for the time being, and I'll keep here all this thing. Okay. See, if this is scenario where I go and bring the cash, just see these two. Where I go and bring the materials and cash, and whatever is happened is cash. So whenever I do any purchases, I just pay the cash then and there. Whenever I do the cash sales, I just take the money from there and then and there itself. So if my purchases and sales is going good, okay, no problem. And for each thing, I started entering in this journal entry. That's why I explained the journal entry, general ledger, and P&L account balance sheet to you before itself. See, journal entries and general ledger accounting will not make any differences. Those things are only prepared for purpose of proper control and proper understanding of the transaction. That's it. Whenever I go market and bring up the products or something, someone will go and bring up the product for cash and bring up and do the sales for cash. These entries will come to picture. So imagine it works for every day. On 31st of March, as I mentioned before, so this personal accounting concept also, personal accounting means subledger concept also I brought it in my business because of the person which I hired, they are not ethical. So to take a control on them, I made this one. And entries to be expanded, I brought it to subject personal account concept in my business. So when these things goes here, just imagine on 31st of March at 11 o'clock, 31st of March, I tell the purchase person because I got a call from a customer, I want a product in me urgently, these many products. I tell the purchase person, this person, and go and bring this product. As you know, I was not giving cash to him. He goes there and brings a product to me. Like by spending, let me take 100 rupees, or else let me take 100 rupees. He said that I bought for 100 rupees from this vendor, and he just entered this one. What will happen if I enter this one in this? So at 11 o'clock, if I have this if I have this balance sheet, just imagine I'm in loss. Let it be or loss or gain. 100 rupees will increase here. Right? Yes, 100 rupees will increase. But as he has not given the cash, my cash will not reduce. Actually, it's reduced here. Cash will not reduce. Why means I mentioned it as an only expenses because I have not yet paid him at 11 o'clock. What's the plan? I'll go in the afternoon or evening. I'll pay him. Then once I go and pay him, same 100 rupees. This entry will come to picture. Then my cash will get effect. Then I will give this 100. What happened here? So my loss has gone to 180 and my cash has reduced to 820. And that is my loss. And the cost is done. See here, my loss has come to 180 and my cash is reduced when I give it. If I give it directly also, this was the entry. If I give it on the same day also, this was the entry. But imagine I purchased this one, but I was not able to pay it due to that vendor will call me or else I may not able to go and pay the amount to him on that day because of last day of the period or maybe I was busy with other things. I'll tell the vendor I'll come tomorrow or day after tomorrow I'll pay it. But it's the 31st of December I want to close my books of accounts. Then what will happen? So this entry will not affect, only this entry will be there. Correct? This entry will be there. This entry is going, I'm going to, this I plan for, I'm going to do it in 01 or else let me do it. 01 or else let me do 02 March. April. Okay. Then it's a business different business fiscal financial year. Then I cannot enter this entry. Then my cash has increased to 820. My so my cash has increased to 920. But my profit and loss account is 180 only because it's an expenses which I already entered. But the cash which is 100 rupees which I have in my assets, that's not mine. It belongs to the vendor. But when I'm closing the books of account, it's still with me. That's why I just mentioned here creditors. Means the 100 rupees which I have here, it has to be paid to this vendor. Then this creditors came to picture. It's nothing but a current liability. And same thing, see here, the vendor account unclear. It's not yet cleared here. Not yet cleared. That's why that uncleared amount is with me. Those things we show it as current assets and liabilities. That's why we call it like simply current assets and liabilities are those are clear within a year. So whenever you are closing any balance sheet, when any financial year or else any period, those accounts, those subledger accounts which are not clear, means which are recorded but not clear. Here you see account types, types of entry. Recorded but not clear. Those entries will come to, generally will come to liabilities, current liabilities and current assets. It will happen same with sales also. You do a sales at 11 a.m. and as you know that the salesperson is not supposed to take cash. He sells that product and I will go and collect the cash or else he will come and collect the cash in the evening. But this person will not come on that day. He will say that I am not feeling well. I will come day after tomorrow, 3 days after 3 days. Then you have sold the product, but your money has reduced because you purchased and you sold the product. Correct, right? You purchased and sold it for some amount. Okay. You purchased, let me take this 100 rupees only you purchased. You want to sell this one now. You sold it for 120 rupees. That sales will happen for 120 rupees. Then your profit has reduced, but cash has not increased because you can tell that I will come after 2 days. Then this amount, whatever you had, this like 120 rupees, which was in the form of stock, has turned into debtors. That person is working with this. Then this balance sheet automatically this P&L of a loss is reduced. Then it's turned, or else the loss is nothing but the expenses has increased, so loss I got, then it's reduced. It was in the form of, let me take it, so it was in the form of stock. It's reduced. So very simple. When you are telling any current assets and liabilities, you can say like this. Current assets and liabilities, those are the differences or which is not clear in subledger accounts. Generally, those will become our current assets and liabilities. Just imagine a scenario like this one. You got a product for 100 rupees, the vendor has not received, here it will increase and stock will increase here. Very simple. And stock will, at 11 a.m., stock will be bought by that customer, then he has not given the cash, then it has turned into debtors. Then your current assets and current liabilities can be picture. If this operation has made in cash itself, you bought it for cash and you sold it for cash, then there is no concept of bringing current assets and liabilities to the balance sheet. Very simple, right? I believe you got an idea with this. But whatever I'm telling all those things here, right? In future class when I'm doing SAP classes, right, all these things will come to picture. Like each and every topic, whatever I'm discussing, and also each and every word which I'm using here, when I'm teaching SAP, definitely I use the same concept because SAP is developed into the same concept. It will not do any magical things. It's a great software which is all tools developed to control all activities of business. With that, this current assets and liabilities also is included. So if when you do not know how these things work theoretically, how do you understand SAP? That's why these things are very much important. Let me go fast with these three topics. These are very simple. Generally, bank and cash, students will enter blind towards bank and cash. Just have this idea before entering. See, banks and other things came to picture. Bank came to picture around 100 years back. Bank is actually which maintains our money. And there was business from last centuries. What the business will do, or generally the business, what business will do, business will buy something and sell something to customer, buy for members and customer, sell to customer, basically. Very simple. Okay. When I sold something to vendor, if I want to collect a cash, let me take on credit basis. If I want to pay him a tax, sorry, pay him a cash, just I want to, after selling, buying that one, either I want to go to him or else he should come to me. That's why the arrow mark is there. And also when I sold something to customer, to collect the cash from customer, either I should come to him or else he should come to my place and he has to give the money. But if I do this cash receiving and cash going out, what will happen? A cashier will sit in our office and he maintains which customer I collected a cash, to which vendor I paid a cash, and he will maintain what's left with his business. And is a cashier which is inside the business. Very simple. But what's the need of bank then? A banker, after this bank concept and all came to picture, what will happen? Very simple. See here. A banker will sit here in middle of the customers and the giver and taker. Whenever I now what we do in bank, simple. Whenever I'm bought something from a vendor, what I say, I just tell this bank, means bank, please pay money to this vendor from my account this much amount. That may be in stuff like I may give the instructions like instruments like check, online, whatever it is, but I'll instruct him. At the same time, if I sold something to him, the customer, what customer will do? That customer I'll tell, please deposit my money to this bank, to this account. Then he will deposit. I'll instruct this customer to deposit that money or transfer that money. What bank will do? As a cashier, whatever is received and whatever is paid and whatever is received, will maintain my money and the remaining will be with him only. A bank is an external cashier and a cashier who sits in within company and he maintains company's money. A banker who sits outside and who maintains company's money. According to law and according to Companies Act and all, we cannot make like long or else not long, a bigger transactions through cash. There is a limit. As per my knowledge, is 20,000 is maximum for cash transactions. If a company wants to pay or receive, if it is more than that, they must do through bank only. Then bank and cashier both are important. You may think, what's the record of cash and what cashier and banker? A cashier, say simply think, yeah, some office, you may get some guests to your office and you want to offer some coffee. You will send your office boy to coffee shop and drink some coffee. And if you do not have a cash concept, as cash concept, if that office boy and will go and tell him that give me four coffees and give me your bank details, our boss or our company and transfer the money. Then coffee shop, the small coffee shops or tea shops will not have this that much facility and they don't want that banking concept. They will expect only cash. They don't give the coffee at all. So on the time we require this small expenses in the last week maintained through cash only. One more best example, like a sleeper will come to your office and clean something else, and he wants you to take 50 rupees or 100 rupees. You cannot give a check to him. You have to give a cash because those people will not be knowing the banking concept at all. So for that, we have to maintain both. When you're writing in journal entry, cash or bank, be clearly in this. What's the entry you're doing? As a purchase, just mention bank. You're maintaining some conveyances or some small expenses like snacks or something, then enter cash. That looks better. Next, we have advances and deposits. This advances and deposits is nothing but a simple entries. This one. Let me take a simple example of you want to sell some product to some customer on credit basis, but sometimes that customer will ask some for more products or special products. Like let me take this example better. You want to say, a customer will come to you and will tell you that I want this product from your side, and you tell that one, sir, okay, this is a unique product, we'll just get it to you only. Okay, please buy it. And if the customer does not come back, That may be a problem. In that unique product, you cannot sell it to any other persons. No one will buy it. This is the scenario. So that purpose, you may ask him that, sir, you want this product? Please give me advance. Like, let me take this cost 200 rupees. Please give me 200 rupees so that I'll bring it to you. That customer, if he gives that product, if he gives the 200 rupees to you, that's not a sales entry. Always remember. You get cash first, but not you're not passing any benefits to him. Then that entry is a different entry. Like when you do a sales entry, then you book a cash entry. But when you do an advances, one means you get money first, then you give the product. First time, first generally you give the product, then you will get the money. In this what happens, customer has already paid money, then you give credit to him, and as you are not doing any sales entry, you do advance about debit. And where it appears, I will tell you. And once you give the customer, like you once you give money to him, like you get a cash, you give the product to him, he does not want to give any cash then you can directly do a sales entry. But before that, just understand this. These two entries, customer has given the credit to you, means cash to you. Let me take 100 rupees. What will happen in your cash account? Your cash will directly rise. Means what? From advance 100 rupees. Your cash has increased. But as you do not do any sales activity, this is not going to affect any P&L account. But your cash has been increased. Then the 100 rupees which you have is not yours in your cash. If you close your books of accounts now itself, just let me just imagine this entry has happened on 31st of March, and you are going to give the product tomorrow, means on 1st of April. Just when you want to close these books, means you have to finalize your balance sheet. Then the 100 rupees which you have is not a sales. It's just advance has been given. So that cash has increased so that you can have to enter this advance. So that balance sheet automatically makes the 100 rupees is not there. Just imagine the conditions has happened like this. First 31st March you have given advance and you want to deliver the product tomorrow. Means sales will happen tomorrow only. But the customer wanted to that one, he will come back and say, give me today itself. You will give the product today itself. What will happen now? This advances is there already, you have entered this all these things. Then see the customer will take the products now. Whenever you do a sales entry, it has to affect P&L account. Then you do this entry generally. Very simple. You do this entry generally sales account. Okay. Then your sales will increase. Okay. Then you don't need to do any cash because you already received the cash. But the cash is already taken and advances is also. Let me take this as come to P&L account. Take P&L account. Profit I got because of this. Okay. So now the question comes here, how it works like he does not want to give cash because sales has happened, but no need to receive cash. Cash is already there. But cash you don't need to increase again. But advance is a liability is there. Very simple. What you have to do instead of doing cash account because cash already been received, you just debit customer to advance. Then 100 rupees will go out of your liability. And credit has done already. 100 rupees will go out of the liability. Means what? This will go out. Debit and credit has happened, right? Simple. You see here, debit here I'm doing, credit here I'm doing. Okay, so sorry. Okay, and this one is debit. Now this debit and credit has happened. very simple. Then this will knock off from the balance sheet, automatically balance sheet matches it. So the conclusion about advances and deposits. See, generally we sell something and we take money, and we buy something and we give money. Whenever first you give the money and then you take the product, then what you have to do, you have to enter a special entry. This is what we call it as a special GL in SAP that you'll understand in future class. But when you do an entry like this, you give the cash first, then you take the product. First you have to enter an entry, you have to update in balance sheet. That means cash has to be increased whenever you receive advance. Cash has to be decreased whenever you paid advance. Means when you pay, you are invested some amount to get some products. Means like you have invested on something that your cash is going to reduce and your advance account will come here. When you pay, when you receive, your cash is going to increase. Then that's not yours. Then that liability will come to picture. That's the same amount. Okay. But when you do an actual entry, like you do a sales or purchases after receiving that one, do a normal entry. Do a normal entry. Do a normal entry. Then just now instead of cash, just knock it off with advance. It will work with this one also, like purchases also and also sales also. And difference between advances and deposits. Deposits is like a long term. When you pay advances to building, when you are renting some building, you have to pay advance. You don't get any benefits from it. Then your cash is going to reduce, your advance is going to be increased. If you have something, there is no P&L effect at all for the deposits. Only balance sheet to balance sheet. Then when you pay something, when you receive some advances for you may rent some of your own building. Then you receive some advances, but it's not any liability. Just it will be in your liability that you have to give back when they go back from your building. This is how the advances and deposit will work. Finally, we have concept of approval and provisions. This I'll explain it in a very simple manner. So do not get confused with this. See, approval programs, best example is always rent of a building and salary. And we can take anything. Like rent of a building or salary. What happens? So we are in October month. What happens? September month I work in a company. Just imagine I worked in a company for a whole month. They pay me salary on 10th of October. The services which I provided is for September month, but they are paying in October. But as they are paying in October, it does not mean that the expenses is belong to October month. In companies, they maintain in periodical ways, like monthly reports and all will be generated because to maintain a proper decision making. Like they make a planning, budgets, and they have to compare everything. For that purpose, what we have to do means whenever the expenses happen or revenues is received, expenses happen and revenues is received. Sorry, revenues incurred means expenses incurred, revenues generated, but it has not received till now. Means revenues is not received, expenses is not paid. Take salary, rent of a building, or sales you make, but sales you have made it in September, but the customer is going to pay it in October. Let me take this scenario. On 31st of 30th of September, some sales will happen. What is the sales will happen? But the sales is happened in the evening, but the customer is going to pay it in October 10th cash. That does not mean that sales has to include in October. It has to be included in September because the sales activities happened in 30th. When they are making any sales comparison, how much is sales is done or something else, the companies will consider this sales activity as September only. Means the expenses and revenues which are incurred or occur incurred in the same month, expenses incurred in the same month and our revenues generated in the same month, that has to be recorded in the same month, irrespective of when that is going to clear. Sometimes we don't get a bill for rent. Rent we are going to pay it in next month only. The bill also will be given by the owner at that time only. For that purpose, what will happen? We cannot have an proof for that recording. Each and every entry should have a entry should have a clear recording. It means records for it. For that purpose, what the companies will make, they will just give an provisions for it, like that rent entry will happen at the end of the month, 30th of the September. They make a rent expenses generally, how much it happens, and also salaries also. But on every month of first of October, and also this will happen every month. First October, they reverse this entry. That means these entries as made on the full, no, made on the assumptions. Means we have to pay this rent and we have to pay this salary for this month, but we do not actually paying now itself. Means we have not yet received any order or bills for this. That's why they record it on 30th and they reverse it. What will happen? If you generate any reports till 30th of September, then that expenses will come to as an it shows an expenses. But if you generate it for the first of October, it will become zero because debit and credit. These entries will get reversed. Means debit will get credit, credit will get debit. For example, take this on 30th of this will happen on 30th. That is rent, debit to Intel February account. This will happen on 1st of October. Rent, debit to rent, debit. This entry will come. This will happen every month. Every month, only to record the entries on the same month. In simple and final words, we have to account the entries in the same month. What are the expenses incurred? We have to account the revenues, whatever is generated. Revenues means sales entries. This occurred in the same month. It has to be recorded in the same month, irrespective of you received bills for that or you received money for irrespective you received an order for that, like sales order. You have not might not received till now, it not, no, might not generated till now. At the end, thank you, and I believe these things will help you out in understanding SAP and all. In my next video, I'm going to explain about taxation and also how these entries, this basic concept used by SAP. That's what I'm going to explain it in next class, next video. Before that, I will show you one thing. This is what I'm going to explain. See, just the same concept like P&L account, balance sheet, and order, nominal, real, and person. How SAP has made an idea to develop a software using these concepts. Thank you very much.